Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to Go Figure Customs YouTube channel. Hope you guys are enjoying JD's and my video podcast of our top picks for every year for the Real American Hero G.I. Joe line, 1982 to 1984. We got one publishing every day until it's done. Be sure and comment on that and tell us what your favorite picks are for each year. And if you watch, you'll notice we're picking our least favorite ones and kind of the hidden gems. So let us know what your least favorite ones were as well. All right, my last tutorial video was a simple painting tutorial on how to paint guns in a more realistic fashion, which here's the one I painted for the video, and it turned out pretty good. The gun and the video. I got a lot of feedback on that. People found it helpful. So I thought I'd do another tutorial video. The question I've been asked most recently is how I make my plate carriers. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's what body armor is. It's kind of the more technical term for body armor. So there's my bullhorn with his plate carrier, vest, body armor, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. You can't really see it too well under there, but he has one under his parachute rig. Let's see, who else do I have that's sitting here? Muskrat. I did Muskrat a couple days ago. He's got a plate carrier, body armor. Big Ben's right here. Plate carrier, body armor, and a backpack. Firefly, yeah, I didn't make the one on Firefly. That's just a Joy Toy repaint. Snow job. I actually did a camo job on the snow job, which didn't turn out on the pictures that I took. But yeah, he's got a plate carrier, body armor thing there. And Mutt's sitting here. Mutt's got a nice plate carrier on too. All right, so how do you make them? First off, you're gonna need one of the Marauder Task Force vests, plate carrier, body armor, and an Elite Forces figure. These come in 5 packs off of Amazon for like 20 bucks. There's 2 different sets. There's a Navy SEAL set, and this is the Rangers set, I believe. I already threw away. Oh no, I do have the packaging. Hang on a sec here. Let me get the packaging. So they come in a set like this. I've already taken 3 out because I used one for my Recondo custom, which I'm in the middle of right now. I'm getting ready to do a Pathfinder custom, which is going to have he's going to have a plate carrier. It's going to be a little different than what I'm doing. I'm going to show you how to do today, and then I've got this one out because I'm going to do the tutorial. So yeah, like 20 bucks on Amazon. I buy these like every couple of months. Yeah, there's only like 4 or 5 different, there's only 4 or 5 different vests, but I think Joy Toy has shown us that with a decent paint job, you really don't need that much variety in them. You can do a lot. You can get your variety with a decent paint job. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to make it. So first thing we need to do, we need to get the plate carrier off of the Elite Forces figure. And it's on there pretty good. I mean, it's just not gonna just come off. So what I usually have been doing up until now is I will put these in a coffee cup. I have a specific coffee cup full of water, and I stick it in the microwave for 3 minutes. I have found that a hairdryer works much better. You can get it done in about 10 seconds, and it is much more efficient. Now, I don't have any hair, but I have a wife, so I have a hairdryer. So let's go take a look at that. All right, welcome to the bathroom, the wife's bathroom, the clean bathroom. So, hairdryer, we're gonna do this on high for about no more than a few, like 10 seconds. It just doesn't take long with the hairdryer. which is why I really like it, because it really softens the plastic up a lot better than boiling water. And, or maybe not. Well, to be honest, this is the first time I've used the hairdryer on this particular task. Oh, there it goes. So, just pulled the plate carrier off of the figure. That's about all these figures are good for. They do come with some fantastic weapons. The helmets aren't half bad. They're not as good as they used to be. And the weapons are fantastic, if I didn't mention that. The heads used to be really nice, but they're just shitty heads now. So now that we got the plate carrier off of the Elite Forces figure, now we need to Dremel it down. Specifically, we're going to Dremel the back out. So let's go to the Dremel. All right, shooting from my workbench here. Luckily, the angle of the camera does not show you what an absolute disaster this bench is, because it's just a mess. I have zero organizational skills when it comes to this. All right, like I said before, what we're going to do is we're going to Dremel the back of this out. We're going to take the edges. There's a little lip here where it sat in on the original figure, and there's a little peg. We're going to take this down almost all the way to the front. We're going to really Dremel this down. One of the tips and tricks for just using pouches in general, let me see if I got one here. Yeah, I got something here. It's like just a regular pouch off a figure. You want to Dremel the back of it down to about maybe a quarter, half, even 3/4 of it off before you glue it onto your figure. Otherwise, if you just glue it onto your figure from when you've taken it off, it sticks out a lot. It doesn't look very realistic. That was one of the huge, I won't call it a mistake, but it's one of the huge things that, I won't say did it wrong, but it's one of the things that I noticed eventually on my customs, because I do a lot with the BBI pouches. Is just, I originally just took them off and glued them onto the figure, and they stick out a lot. If you Dremel them down and Dremel kind of a curve to them so they fit on your figure, they look a lot better. So that's a tip and trick for you for today. All right, so the tool that I'm going to use to Dremel it down, obviously Dremel, I'm going to use a barrel sander. I don't know if that's actually the name of the tool, but that's what I call it. So let's Dremel that down. Should use eyewear, eye protection, but do as I say, not as I do. So I'm going to Dremel the lip out first, and then I'm going to Dremel down that peg. And once those are down, then I'm going to start working on the inside of the vest. And I'm going to take that down as thin as I can get it. You need to be careful not to Dremel all the way through. I've done that on occasion on some of my vests. It's not as long as the hole's not too big, you can patch it using like sculpting putty. So I'm also going to Dremel the inside of the pouches a little bit as well. Remember how I tuck? I really probably shouldn't tuck over that. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Remember how I mentioned earlier on the pouches about taking a bit off the back? You want to do that on the sides of these things. Yeah, these pouches look great. You can see the body armor underneath, and they do look really nice, but you want the pouches to sit more flush, especially on the sides, so you don't lose your articulation. That was one of the huge points one of the huge problems I had up until recently, is not dremeling down the sides enough, and you have to move the arms out before you can move them forward. To some extent, I still have to do that because I still want some of that pouch left, but you'll get paint rubs if you're not careful. If the pouches aren't in more flush to the body, you have the possibility of getting paint rubs. So let's finish dremeling this out. See, now I've got well, you probably can't see it, but I've got yeah, you can see it. I've got a little pinhole there now. Luckily, that's not going to be that big of a deal. It didn't take off enough to where it's going to be a blatantly obvious hole. When I secure it to the vest and prime it and paint it, you're never going to be able to tell that that hole was there. So that is, I need to take a little bit more off. All right, so there we go. I'm going to stop it here. Well, I'm not going to stop it here. I'm going to stop my video. I'm going to take a picture with my phone, and I'm going to stick it here so you can see right now. This is what it looks like. The inside of the vest looks like after we've dremeled it down. You can see that I've taken a little bit off of the insides of the pouch, and you can see how far I've taken it down on the rest of the plate carrier. All right. Well, as G.I. Joe says, that's only half the battle. Now I'm going to line up the Elite Forces plate carrier on the BBI, or on the Marauder one, and just going to see where it's going to lay. A lot of times this is easier to do with a figure. So I got a Marauder figure here. This is going to be Pathfinder in a few days, hopefully. So I'm going to put the vest on him real quick. And just see how it lays. And it's it's a lot easier to do when after you've dremeled it, because the plastic is soft from being heated up. All right. So now it's just laying on there, and you can see what I was talking about, how the arms won't go forward because those pouches stick out. So what we're going to do is now we're going to, the point of this is to see what areas the Elite Forces plate carrier covers the Marauder Task Force one. Because what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna Dremel down the areas that this is gonna cover, so it sits even more flush to the chest. This one you want to be just as careful, if not more, because it's a lot thinner, a lot softer plastic, and it's a lot easier to go through it. All right, I've taken off the bottom on the front piece of that. I don't have another vest sitting around here to compare it to, do I? Yeah, I think I do. Hang on a sec here. It's a different vest. There you go. I'm gonna need to order vests pretty soon. All right, so I've taken off the bottom 3 molly straps and then the 3 straps along the side. You want to be real careful with the sides, because that's where your pegs are. That's going to peg into the back. If you want this to be fully functional and removable, you need to be real careful with that particular area. All right, now I'm going to do the middle of the top 3 straps so that the top of the plate carrier sits a bit more flush too. And then I'll check it as I do it to see what else I need to take down. And it does actually help to have the figure that you're going to be doing this to, because as you Dremel this down, it loses it's fairly flexible to begin with, but it becomes even more so the more you Dremel down, so it kind of loses its shape a little bit. So you want it to see how you're going to have it on the original, or on the figure that you're working on. Not lining up there for some reason. There we go. All right, so now I can see how it sets. I can see I want to take a little bit more off one side. I'm not too worried about taking out some of the details on the molly straps that are off to the side, because if I screw that up, I can always just sculpt in some details. I'm not a fantastic sculptor in any way, shape, or form, but it's not that hard to put a little blob of sculpting putty there, like an Avs epoxy sculpt is what I use. It's not hard to put a little blob of sculpting stuff there. Take an X-Acto knife to shape it like a molly strap and let it dry and let it set up, and then it'll look fine. And it's not like you're sculpting Brad Pitt's face or something. All right, so even with it sitting flush, you're still gonna not have complete clearance of the arms there, unless you really Dremel those pouches down, which I don't particularly want to do. So you do need to be careful of that, because you will have some. You won't have complete clearance there off the side. Let's see, how does that look? And take your time doing it, obviously. I mean, I'm not rushing through this. I'm not doing this for a particular custom, but I will eventually use this for something. Yeah, it's not. I need to Dremel a little bit more off the inside. That's the whole point of having this on the figure and adjusting it and making it sit where you want to, is you can figure out where you need to take down more. Do you need to Dremel the vest down, the Marauder vest down? Do you need a little bit more? Do you need to Dremel down the Elite Forces vest more? Okay, that's not too bad. Maybe a little bit more on this side. I won't say I get this paper thin, but I get it pretty close. And then this one, I do sand down the edge because it gets a little fuzzy. Can't really see it too well there, but it gets a little fuzzy from because the plastic is softer. So I sand it down to get the like fuzzy Dremel shavings off. It doesn't matter what grit sandpaper you use. I'm just cleaning the vest up to get the little Dremel shavings off. I don't do the back of the Elite Forces one at all. All right, that looks like that's gonna sit on there pretty well. Okay. All right, that's gonna work pretty well like that, I think. Maybe just a little bit more off this side here. I took a little bit more off the left-hand side pouch, so it will fit a little bit more flush. It won't interfere with the arm movement quite as much. I think that's going to be where I want it. So, well, still a little bit, it's not, well, is it? I think that's the vest doing that. This is not a difficult process, it just can be kind of time consuming, but as with anything, you don't want to rush it because you want it to look nice. All right, and I do need to sand that down because there's some fuzzies coming off the edge of that one. And I think I will sand the back of this down a little bit just to make sure there's no edges, no fuzzies coming off. All right. So there is the vest. Now that we've all got it Dremel, now that we've got it Dremel down, and that's what it looked like originally. So now we glue it. I usually glue it while it's on the figure because you want it to form fit to the figure. Remember, this plastic is very thin now. If you glue it while it's not on the figure, it may not get the shape that you want it, and it might not look good on your figure then. So what I'm going to recommend is that you have the back of it up so you don't actually glue the two together, since we want to make this functional and removable. All right, I know how I want it to lay. This is all ready. Super glue, you know, there's probably any number of options for super glue. I use Duro super glue because it's what I started out using, and I've gotten good results. It's not the super glue that I like that works. It's super glue accelerator. You don't have to use, but super glue accelerator cuts down your dry time to a couple of seconds. And not only does it make your super glue dry faster, it strengthens it too. And it has a thermogenic reaction. So if you get super glue on your hands and then get the accelerator, it's gonna burn. And yes, I know that from experience. It won't leave like a, like a, it'll just hurt. You won't get like a 2nd-degree burn or anything. So I'm going to coat the back of this fairly well with super glue. And then I've got my vest on my figure. Just going to set the vest on there until I get the positioning right. Careful not to get that super glue on you. Oh, that ain't right. There we go. All right. Press it down and then hit it with the super glue accelerator. And then once from the back, there's your vest. And it's functional. So here's your guy, here's your vest. Whoop, here's your guy, here's your vest. It still pegs in. One of the things that I might recommend doing like this is got a gap in it right there. I'm going to go back and drop some more super glue in there. Not right now because it's still kind of oily from the super glue accelerator. That will pass, it will evaporate off. But once it's, yeah, no, it didn't get any super glue in there. Yeah, let's do that real quick. Didn't get it on the edge there. There we go. All right. One of the things I might recommend is going around the edges with a thin bead of super glue and then hitting it with the super glue accelerator. The super glue accelerator, it's super glue, so you're going to lose some of that flexibility. You're going to lose most of that flexibility with the vest. So keep that in mind. That's why you try and take off as much of it as possible to get it there. All right, let me go prime this real quick. My wife always complains that she can't see the custom when it's Frankensteined together like this. She's like, it looks too weird with just different colors. So let me go prime it real quick, and then we'll take a look at it and see how it looks, how the vest looks. Okay, it's primed. And there's your vest. There's your plate carrier. Not too bad. Let's put it on the guy. Still pegs in on the side. There you go. Fully functional plate carrier, body armor, bulletproof vest, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, and then your Elite Forces guy, none of this is usable anymore. They changed the hands and the feet used to be viable parts, but the feet are all one solid piece with the lower leg, and the hands are all one solid piece with the lower arm. I've got a bag of Elite Forces feet and hands that I used to use on my customs. They have a real nice sculpt to them. But these are useless. And the head sculpt on these things are shit. They used to have really nice head sculpts on Elite Forces figures. Right in the trash. So there you go. That's how you make a vest. Hopefully you found that helpful, useful. It's not that hard. You do need super glue accelerator, a Dremel, your Elite Forces guy, and a Marauder Task Force vest. It takes about 20 minutes, start to finish. And yeah, there's 4 or 5 different combinations of vests. I think one of the sets that you can get has a harder plastic to it. The Elite Forces vests, but it's still usable. So there's one with I was going to use this for my Recondo, but I just bought another pack of these. There was a specific vest I wanted to use for my Recondo, and I'm like, screw it. I'm not going to settle. So I don't know if I'll use this vest, because I don't know. I don't like the sculpt on it too much, but that's what I was going to use for Recondo until I decided to upgrade him. Like I said, hopefully you found it useful. It's not that difficult. It's not that expensive. You get, 4 or 5 vests out of a $20 pack, plus the weapons are fantastic. And if you get the Ranger one, it comes with a nice dog. It's not as nice as the Marauder Task Force, but for dioramas, it's fantastic. I don't know where that is, but anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes of General Geekery, and sound off in the comments below if you found this useful. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, and as always, ask for suggestions for videos. Like I said, a bunch of people asked me yesterday how I made my vests. I'm like, hey, I should make a video on that. So there you go. Thanks for watching.